Good morning and welcome to Saturday's special of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Since my last talk, I've been deluded with hundreds of messages asking me to give my comments on an act of meaningful piety or whether this recitation is something much more than that or something less than that, a mere ritual. I'm referring to Sukhmani Sahib. As a matter of fact, in the Sikh religion, there's an integral part, a tradition, and that is of Akhand Path. Akhand Path is a continuous, uninterrupted recitation of the Guru Granth, which continues non-stop, uninterrupted for 48 hours. That was established essentially in 1742. Although there have been stories that the first time Akhand Path was done, it was in the presence of Guru Gobind Singh. But anyway, a new trend has emerged in the last couple of decades, and that is people have started reciting Sukhmani and they have congregations where Sukhmani part, the recitation of Sukhmani. Now, what is Sukhmani? Sukhmani is a poem, an excellent spiritual and learning poem written by Gobind, Guru Arjan Dev, the fifth Guru. And as a matter of fact, it was composed before he compiled and edited Guru Granth. This was composed by Guru Arjan Dev around 1602, compiled it at Ramsar Sarovar in Golden Temple. At that time, it was in the thick of woods. And this poem is structurally of epic structure. Can you believe it? There are 24 Ashpadis. Ashpadis are sections. And Ashtapadi is a Sanskrit word for a verse that has 8 metrical feet. Pad, pad is feet. And these Ashtapadis are 24 in number, but before each Ashtapadi, there is a shlok of 2 lines. And each Ashtapadi has 8 verses of 10 hymns per pad. So in each foot, there are 10 hymns and 24 Ashtapadis in total, along with the shlokas. It takes about an hour and a half to read it. And if you look at it, there's nothing wrong in reading it. The Sukhmani itself is an invocation to God, and it's a clarification of what is meant by intelligentsia, the Brahmgyani, the ultimate learner and the master of knowledge. It also contains mundane, everyday pieces of advice about what to do and what not to do. It tells you about God and about making a human being. Very normal things. Do not indulge in backbiting. Do not condemn others form a part of Sukhmani. In the first 3 Ashtapadis, the poem refers to the advantages of repeating the name of God. In Canto 4 to 11, Guru Arjan Dev expresses his thoughts on what a God man should be, the seer, the saint. And 10, 12 to 20 mention the process in the way God's grace can be won, and that is do your job in full sincerity without any fear. And the last 4 cantos, The same thought is elucidated, the thought of the word. Now, let me tell you here that people don't understand that Sikhism essentially is a religion of the book. And the repetition of the word God, or Waheguru, or whatever, is basically the personal and absolute aspect of God is covered in that. The, and the beauty, which again is ignored, is that the God is not something away from man. He is present in the creation. Of course, he is not subject to matter, time, and space, and transcends all. Now, this thing, the ultimate reality, is great, and it's a real spiritual aspect. Now, the question is, should it be recited together or should it be recited at two? Now, Sukhmani has, as I said earlier, structurally this form. In common parlance, I would say it has three major aspects. One, it defines God and the reality. It defines cosmos and the creation. Second part, it defines the mode of living, the ethical way, the moralistic way, the spiritual way, and the human way. If it says don't criticize others, don't indulge in backbiting, these are basic ethical values that are sought to be ingrained. Then it's a definition of the God man and the intellectual of the highest type, the Brahmgyani. There's a praise to God, there's definition of God, and there's an advice to human beings. Now tell me, is advice to be followed or to be repeated? Do you say, keep on saying, as a child to keep on saying, don't tell a lie, don't tell a lie, don't tell a lie? No. You tell the child once or twice, and then the child learned by not lying, not by repeating, don't lie. When you recite something mindlessly, then it loses all its meaning. Now, another aspect is that this poem, Sukhmani, is written in Rag Gauri. As a matter of fact, all the hymns of Sikhs are set to the classical ragas. They are not meant to be read as a book. They are meant to be sung because the vibrations of the ragas would be conveyed to your mind and settle an unsettled mind, bring peace and calmness. The way the parts are held is something amusing. So I don't want to hurt people, but then imagine one group reads the first Ashpadi, sorry, the second group reads the second Ashpadi, again the first group reads the third, and the second group reads the fourth. So the whole thing comes and goes, and people think they are doing a great thing. Basically, mindless repetition doesn't help. Neither it creates that vibration which the music would create, nor is there a continuous flow of the words and the poem loses its meaning. If it is sung the way it is supposed to be sung, recited the way it's supposed to be recited, it would at least have some resonance. At times, when I've seen this part, I'm reminded of the school kids in madrasas reading ayats of Arabic, of Holy Quran, and then moving up and down and reciting it again mindlessly like robots. We have two options. The first is to recite the name are to read it and imbibe those qualities. That's the most important thing. Read, understand, imbibe those qualities in your everyday life. What does it matter whether you say one should not criticize and start criticizing the next minute? The whole thing loses its meaning. If you read Sukhmani, you would find that it deals with such topics which are excellent and are related to the human life. For example, meditation, singing the name of the Lord, what constitutes the greatness of saints, true devotion, good deeds. That's the most important thing. True and nature of mind, badness of slandering, and most important, which people always ignore, they are concepts relating to Brahm Vidya, Advaita, Sargun, and Nirgun, materialism, and death. So imagine, these things are meant to be digested and effort has to be taken that they become a part of your life. As a matter of fact, as I said earlier, there's nothing wrong in having the part, but it loses all the meaning. For example, in the third Ashtapadi, the Guru makes a sharp comparison with the other forms of worship based on the previous scriptures of Hindus and other religions and makes it clear that Nam Simran is important. But what is Nam Simran? He criticizes rituals in this. If you look at it, the Ashtapadi, you would find the second Ashtapadi that the rituals are condemned. And then when you can make Sukhmani as a part, read it as a part in the congregation, then you're making it a ritual. So you're going against the suggestion of the Guru himself. Then he very clearly says that the name has to be repeated while doing your worldly jobs. There's no renunciation. Name segment does not mean singing as a group, as a duet song, or mindlessly as the kids in madrasas do. What is required is a certain resonance. What is required is to understand the implication of the connectivity between God and man. The connectivity that comes from understanding that man is alter ego of God. God created the universe, create and is a part of that creation. That is the lesson Guru Arjan Dev is giving. But we lose that. And then, we go to the part, the people who are devotees, go there, listen to it, recite it, come out with nothing changed. For the simple reason they have not imbibed the lesson. They have not bothered to understand the meaning. And that's why this is not supposed to be a group activity. This is something to be done at individual level. Read it, comprehend it, understand it, live it. Reciting it in a group as a duet, which is often done, without accompaniment or without resorting to the raga, is not something very, very encouraging. But then, as I said, every religion at one time or the other, in one form or the other, becomes a cult. And when it becomes a cult, there is a persistent effort by the devotees and the self-appointed, self-anointed guardians of the religion to emphasize the ceremonial aspect and the ritual aspect. And when you emphasize the ritual aspect, the inherent goodness is lost. And that is what is happening when you are having the parts. If you read it, digest it, make it part of your life, it's great. If you just repeat it like a parrot repeating, or those kids in madrasas they refer to, then it's just meaningless. At the best, it is a social gathering. Well, again, nothing wrong with that, but then do not think it to be something which is spiritual or which is going to enhance your either quality of life or help you in mindfulness. Either take it as a social activity rather than as a spiritual activity. That's fine. But if you want to read, understand, and imbibe the principles of Sukhmani, then the best thing is to do it, learn it, and follow it. Following does not mean going about and repeating in a group without any thought, without any rhyme, without any reason. Well, that's the way I think it. And I'll appreciate if you let me know whether you have some difference of opinion. I always welcome it. But let's not forget that the great works of literature always have a spiritual content. And this is out and out a religious poetry. So religious content is important, but the beauty here is that the religious content is counterbalanced with a sense of scientific inquiry when it describes about the God, the description of God, the creation and cosmos. And then the ethical values which are shown, it sets apart Sukhmani from other poems. So read, understand, imbibe rather than just read it as a group. Thank you.